Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. Looks like yesterday was another bad day for the Russians, losing over 1,000 personnel. It feels like we just hit 300,000, and we're about to hit 350. And the primary reason why casualties have accelerated is in the last 2 months, the Russians have been conducting daily meat assaults on the city of Avdiivka. The city of Avdiivka continues to hold. Russia's not even in the city of Avdiivka yet. So let's get to our top story. Putin's supporters formally nominate him as an independent candidate in Russia's presidential election. So the way this works in Russia, they have a one-party state, the United Russia Party. Putin is the leader of that party, but this looks bad. So what Putin does is he declares himself an independent candidate. And then the United Russia Party doesn't oppose him and they endorse him. Kind of convoluted, we all know what's happening here, but this is the way Putin likes to do it. So here's the clip of the party members meeting, voting unanimously to support the independent candidacy of Putin. And this is Dmitry Medvedev at the podium.
Ставлю на голосование предложение поддержать выдвижение Владимира Владимировича Путина кандидатом на должность президента Российской Федерации на выборах, назначенных на 17 марта 2024 года. Голосование по этому вопросу открытое. Прошу голосовать. Кто за? Против? Воздержался? Принято единогласно. Ставлю.
Did you notice anything weird about that vote? When you vote for something to be unanimous, people have to yell out aye or nay. So they asked for people to vote aye, and nobody spoke. They just raised their hands. He then said, all those opposed. He looks down. He doesn't even look at the audience. I don't think anyone actually raised their hand, but I'm just critiquing their parliamentary procedure here, as you can't say it's unanimous when it's not a voice vote and you don't give anyone the opportunity to vote no. Russia's ruling party backs Putin's re-election bid while a pro-peace candidate clears the first hurdle. Ooh, we've got a dark horse candidate. Who is this? This is Ekaterina Duntsova, a 40-year-old woman from the Tver region, editor-in-chief of the local TV studio, local politician, and mother of 3. She's announced her candidacy for the Russian presidential election next spring. And this election announcement video is pretty amazing. I'm going to read this to you. This is an ordinary Russian woman trying to get on the ballot to run for president. Let's admit that we all live in fear to some extent. And the further it goes, the more so. Tens of millions of Russians are afraid to talk openly about their political views, their attitude to the country's leadership, and even their nationality. Apathy, whispered arguments in the kitchen, internal emigration, the smartphone screen covered up with the palm of the hand. We fear that we are being bugged, that we will be denounced, or that our loved ones will be sent to the front lines tomorrow. I, for example, was scared to run for president too, but I decided to do it because I don't want to keep silent anymore. I don't want my children to grow up in an atmosphere of fear. Answer honestly, at least to yourself. Do you want peace? I and most people I know closely do. To live in peace means to respect and love each other, regardless of our religious, cultural, and political differences. Today, the authorities are conducting a special military operation, and it hurts me very much that people are dying every day. I am sure that most people in Russia are not happy about these deaths. Everyone wants to live, to make plans for the future, to dream, but all our dreams are pale against the background of the ongoing tragedy. I am running for president to bring us the long-awaited peace to stop the people dying, to stop disputes and improve relations in families, to live in peace with ourselves and our neighbors. Our country has a huge number of unresolved problems. There is not enough money in the budget for education, healthcare, a real increase in pensions. Not even billions, but trillions of budget rubles serve the military machine. But they should be used to develop the economy and support ordinary families. Sounds pretty good, but my guess is this woman's going to find a window probably in the next month. Families of mobilized Russian soldiers call on Putin to end the war in Ukraine. At the moment, this is Putin's pressure point. This is the segment of the population he actually fears the most. Wives and mothers of Russian soldiers currently serving in Ukraine. He doesn't want to kill or imprison these women because their loved ones are currently fighting willingly in Ukraine. But these videos are flooding Russian social media. Let me share just a couple of these clips. I'm sorry there's no subtitles if you don't speak Russian, but just from their voices, you can understand the tone of what they're talking about.
То я сейчас тут узнала ночью, я нахожусь в таком шоке, у меня нет слов. Мой муж вчера ночью вернулся с задания.
I'll link all these down below if you want to see them for yourself, but I'm just going to play a couple seconds of each one of these clips.
Я жена мобилизованного бойца, который был призван 29 сентября 2022 года с поселка Рочинское, Самар.
Here's another one.
Мы родные и близкие мобилизованных бойцов, призванных в Самарской области, поселка Рочинский, номер части 458-63.
На мобилизованного. Наши мужчины прошли полный ад, исполняя свой воинский долг и защищая нашу Родину. После выполнения боевых задач наши мужчины вернулись не в полном составе. Некоторые бойцы не...
And they go on and on. There's more of these videos on Russian social media. And these are the women of the mobilized. Nobody in Russia cares about the prisoners being forced to die in Ukraine. Nobody really cares about the contract soldiers. They willingly sign those contracts. It's mostly the conscripts and the mobilized, the relatives of those individuals who say, this has gone on too far. Mobilization happened in September of 2022, and none of these men have been allowed to see their wives, see their mothers, return back to Russia. And Putin's not going to give any of these guys time off prior to his election next March. So Putin has a plan for all these women. If you remember, the official position of Putin's government is Russian women need to be having more kids. Ideally, they have their first child when they're 18 or 19. They need to be having 6, 7, or 8 children. And Putin says girls are Russia's labor force reserve. Putin on Monday urged traditionally male professions to employ more women to reduce major labor shortages exacerbated by thousands of soldiers being called up to fight in Ukraine. Additionally, hundreds of thousands of Russian men fleeing the country to avoid the war. So to recap, Putin wants Russian women to start having babies at 18 or 19, make sure they have 6, get a job working full-time in a factory or a coal mine, and do all this without their husband, because their husband's going to be serving on the front lines for the glory of the empire. This doesn't seem like a good plan. Where's Navalny? Russian court postpones Navalny's court hearings until whereabouts can be established. A Russian court has postponed jailed Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny's hearings until his whereabouts can be established. So Navalny went missing, radio silent about 2 weeks ago. His lawyers, his family, anyone in the government, They don't know where he is. Even the Russian court system doesn't know where one of their prisoners is. Pretty bizarre. My money's on he's dead, and maybe Putin doesn't want to announce this until after Christmas or after New Year's, but it's been 2 weeks. It's getting kind of weird. Let's now talk about the EU, as they are pushing off the discussion of a $55 billion aid package to Ukraine until February 1st. Why the delay until February 1st? During a recent summit, the EU failed to reach a consensus on the bloc's long-term budget, which includes funds for Ukraine, due to opposition from Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. So we're going to take a month to talk about Hungary's position. This is what the EU is saying. And they're getting pretty serious, especially the Eastern European bloc countries. EU contemplates suspending Hungary's voting rights over Ukraine aid disputes. Should diplomatic efforts fail, EU countries may proceed to forge an agreement on assistance to Ukraine without Hungary's involvement. Here's a clip. This is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania. He's going to explain the current situation with the Hungarians.
The only way I can read Hungarian position, not just on Ukraine, but on many other issues, is that they are against Europe and everything that Europe stands for. I think it's a clash of ideologies, of those who want Europe to be strong and those who don't want European Union at all. So if we can get rational and find rational solutions, I won't go deeper in this, but pragmatic, let's call them, maybe this step can be solved. If not, dark times can lie ahead.
Dark times can lie ahead if one country can sabotage the entire EU bloc. This is pretty funny. On deepstatemap.live, the creators of this map put a clown emoji in the capital city of Budapest. Ukraine situation reports US funding almost exhausted. After one more aid package for Ukraine is announced later this week, there will be no more US funding available, according to the White House. So last December, when Zelensky visited Congress, this is when they passed this 40 or 50 billion military aid package for the year of 2023. This was able to pass because the Democrats controlled the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi was still Speaker. She was kind enough to allow an up or down vote on a single issue, and almost every Democrat voted for it. Something like 150 House Republicans voted for it as well. But that's not what's happening currently with our Congress. So Ukraine is having to adjust. With economic aid from the EU and military aid from the United States being uncertain, Ukraine has to scale back. Military scales down some operations over foreign aid shortages. And on this channel, I don't know what I can do, aside from share pictures and videos of ordinary Ukrainian soldiers. The face of this Ukrainian man says it all. Driving a tank in the mud, filthy, exhausted, but he's got no other choice. When this Ukrainian man calls home, he'll say, "I'm okay, take care there." Because on the front lines, they don't have the luxury of war fatigue. Everyone comfortably and safely living in the West, complaining about war fatigue. Tell it to this man that you don't want to support him anymore, that you're willing to let Russia win, to enslave Ukrainian people, kill whoever they want to kill, take their land, because you were feeling tired of supporting him. And enemy number one here in the United States is Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He keeps parroting Kremlin propaganda that he can't allow a vote on military aid to Ukraine because there's no clear path to victory and not enough proper oversight of the funds being allocated. I can debunk these 2 points all day. They're both Kremlin talking points. But there is hope. January here in the United States is going to get crazy because House Republicans keep kicking the can down the road. Rather than just vote and pass their own version of a budget, they keep passing these continuing resolutions. McCarthy did it, and that's partly why he was removed as Speaker. Speaker Johnson then did the exact same thing. So the United States government, for 20% of our agencies, they're going to run out of funding and shut down on January 19th. The rest of the federal governments will shut down, including the military, on February 2nd. Everyone who's essential service still has to work. They just won't be paid. And I'm pretty confident that there's not going to be any more continuing resolutions. Republicans wanted to get through Christmas and the New Year's before having this big battle. What exactly do they want? I'm not sure, but in the chaos and confusion of voting in January, there is a possibility that military aid to Ukraine will be passed. I do believe there are Republican senators like Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham who are genuinely trying to get some kind of compromise bill with border security or immigration reform or something from President Biden. So I'm willing to support that if they're genuinely seeking some kind of compromise to get military aid to Ukraine. The real problem is still Speaker Johnson and the stuff that he says. But he can always be removed. Republicans in the House had a razor-thin majority, and they just expelled Republican George Santos for corruption and fraud. And then former Speaker Kevin McCarthy resigned from Congress this week. So House Republicans had a majority of only 4 seats, and according to my math, they just lost 2 members. Meaning, to remove Speaker Johnson and replace him with whoever, only 2 or 3 House Republicans have to vote with the Democrats to force a new Speaker vote and get somebody different. I don't know what January is going to look like in the House of Representatives, but given how many bills need to pass, how many things need to be voted on, and some House Republicans like Matt Gaetz want to make their stand in January, then it's going to get weird. But there is a decent possibility that things could land in the chaos and this will benefit Ukraine, and we can finally get additional military aid passed. And here's a Fox News opinion poll. When it comes to helping Ukraine fight against Russia, the United States should be doing what? In November, 21% more, 41% same, 35% less. But a month later, the numbers are looking pretty good. 66% of Americans want to see more military aid or the same amount. It's only a third of Americans who want less. And even for those saying they want less military aid, they could still support Ukraine, they just don't support military aid. What else is going on? The United States and Finland signed a defense cooperation deal. Here is Secretary Blinken. This is bad news for Russia. Last week, Helsinki announced the deal, which strengthens mutual defense ties and gives the United States access to 15 Finnish military facilities, including 4 air bases and 1 naval base. I don't really feel like the United States needs more military bases, but we definitely could shift some of them around. 4 air bases and 1 naval base in Finland, getting it as close to St. Petersburg and Moscow. The goal here is deterrence, to stop the Russians from attacking the Baltics, Poland, Moldova, whoever, Finland. Russia did this to themselves, and Finland never would have agreed to this. Finland never would have joined NATO if Russia had just been happy with their own borders, happy with their own territory, and they stop attacking the former Soviet republics. So here they are on Kremlin State TV. I'm going to read this for you, complaining about Finland. I actually like the Finns. I do as well. They're good at ice hockey. They have a kind of everyday intelligence, a quite powerful kind of layman's intelligence. And with that layman's intelligence, they realize that Finland's golden age is over. It was over when they had everything with the USSR and later Russia, giving away very little while having one of the highest economic growth rates in Europe, and having a fantastic level of social security. But now they'll have American troops, who will periodically rape Finnish women, and men too, in bars near the border. There will be constant incidents. So one of the reasons why Finland's economy has been so great is they joined the EU in 1995. That's one reason. And when you look at democracy rankings, Finland is consistently in the top 5. Whereas, where does Russia stand in the democracy index? 144, below Rwanda and the Republic of Congo. So no, I don't think Finland's golden age is over. They're trying to preserve their prosperity and their democracy and their independence by staying as far away from Russia as they can. EU adopts new round of sanctions on Russia. The package is the 12th package leveled at Moscow since it sent troops to Ukraine. They are designed to reduce Russia's access to revenues, metals, and technology used to sustain their war. I guarantee you, economically, Russia is struggling. They're putting on a brave face. They're trying to hide their weaknesses, but eventually Russia's going to run out of money, and they're not going to be able to sustain this war anymore. We're not there yet. It's going to take more time. But every time the West, Japan, the G7, the United States, the EU places more sanctions on Russia and individuals, it all adds up. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. We will see the end results eventually. Here's an individual I want to highlight. If you don't know who this man is, this is Howard G. Buffett, Warren Buffett, his son. And here's a tweet from the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine stating, "Thank you, Howard Buffett, for providing vital assistance to Ukraine, from supporting farmers and demining efforts, giving opportunities to wounded veterans, providing food to frontline communities, and bringing back taken children. You are doing so much for so many." Howard Buffett has visited Ukraine numerous times. He's a billionaire, so he's done a lot of good in the country. Here's a clip of President Zelensky also taking time to thank him.
So that is a special place for this is this where here is your name and the date when you came the first time, of course. Yeah. Because on this square, people who've been with us first year of full-scale war from first months days, you're one of these persons here. You will see the leaders of the world, not too much. But I think enough to be friends for Ukraine. Ukrainians, you're one of such representatives of humanity. Thank you very much. You'll be here. Thank you. You'll be.
Thank you so much to the Buffett family for all the support they've been providing Ukraine the last 2 years. Final clip I have for you is a Ukrainian climber. This is his name. He summited Mount Everest for the second time, and the second time he brought a Ukrainian flag. This is a pretty spectacular video. Ukraine says hello from the top of the world. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.